minds and make us all think. How are you guys doing? I have been working hard this morning trying to write out the rest of this week's lessons and teachings and everything like that. And all of a sudden I look and I realize, oh my goodness, it's 8 o'clock. So I thought I'd better come on here and let everybody know we are live. We're here to rock and roll, and we're here to go to the next level. There is no levels to go to. We're just here to peel back the lies that we've believed and enter the world of understanding. Start the day and help us all hit this place of realization of the truth of our existence. So welcome. Wow, the week is going by, and look at this. For the world that observes, we got the world going out there and giving us the holiday plans. But I want to remind us, let's remember the truth of our existence during this season. Let's not get entrapped up in the world that tries to get us trapped up. Let's remember, this is a season of moving mountains, having that faith like a mustard seed and seeing the world we once know finally crack wide open. Let the truth finally surface. Well, we've been talking about from seeing the illusion to living the truth. You know? So what I want to start with today is, let's get us all to take a deep breath. Hang on. Before we do that, I'm going to send out a couple invitations here. And let that go like that. So, it's a grand morning. Good morning to all of those that have joined, and let's take this breath together. And escape. You know? Hang on. Before we really get going, I forgot. I got to put this on one more thing. Then, all right. So let's take a deep breath, huh? And we're not doing this to escape, not to transcend, just to actually be here. You see, there's something people don't talk about these days, and they don't talk about it enough either. And when it comes to awakening, everyone wants to talk about seeing the illusion and peeling past and, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, blah, blah. But very few want to talk about what happens after. What do we do once we realize this? Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. What do we do once we recognize this world is an illusion? You know? What do we do about this topic that very few will talk about? They even won't talk about what happens because once you see clearly, you can't unsee. Once you've seen the prison system, it's not like you can go back and pretend it doesn't exist. It's there in front of you. See, and that's where people feel unsteady because they're not sure what to do. Not because truth is dangerous, but because truth asks to be lived, not understood. See, today isn't about seeing more, actually. I mean, I think we're seeing a lot, but it's about learning how to stand once we see. Once we see the truth of our existence, once we see who we are, once we see this world for the illusion, where do we go next? Well, in the Awaken trilogy, the moment awakening doesn't come from fireworks. It actually comes from quietly sitting and being. See, the character realizes the world isn't suddenly changed, didn't just suddenly change. They were the ones who changed. So the world's still going on around them. The same streets, the same people, the same system, it's just flowing. It's happening. But now they can see these patterns underneath everything. They see the BS. They see the crap. They see the repetition. They see the fear loops that this world gives us. The roles people play just to belong, just to be accepted, just to be seen, and even to realize you were once there yourself. At first, this maybe even feels empowering because you're like, I get this. But then it's isolating. Where do you go? Because once you see the strings, once you see the puppeteers, you can't pretend they're not there. You know they're there. And the mistake the character almost makes. You see, the mistakes many of us make. The world needs more frozen yogurt. Some fruity flavors, it just mixes it all up. The mistake many of us make is thinking that seeing clearly means leaving everything behind. But awareness isn't an exit. It's an invitation. It's an invitation for you to discover deeper. See, there's a point in awakening where the character tries to return to normal life. Same conversations, same expectations, same unspoken rules. But something doesn't fit anymore. Not because others are wrong, not because the way they're doing life is wrong. Not because the character can no longer abandon themselves to belong. See, they know the truth now. And they can't put the masks on anymore. They can't pretend. See, this is where many people think, I don't belong anywhere then. That's not true. Because the deeper truth is this. You don't belong to the roles anymore. You belong to life now. It's in your hands now. See, awakening isn't about rejecting society. It's about no longer losing yourself inside it. You see, that's why I went off into the desert for 7 months to myself. I had to evade myself of all people. All religious structures, come on. I was preaching on stages of 10,000 people. I was singing on stages of thousands. They ruled and ran my life. Because I allowed them. I was people-pleasing everywhere I went, saying only what they wanted to hear, what could bring a smile out of them. I was being a character. But now as a character that understood everything. But yet here we are in this world, and you come out of that seeing who you are, and then all of a sudden you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious, exhausted. But this is where the body enters the story. You realize the truth doesn't live in the mind alone. It lives in breath, in rest, in regulation. See, awareness without embodiment feels like floating without gravity. And this mirrors life, real life. If the nervous system is overwhelmed, even the most beautiful truth will feel like a threat. Trust me, I know. I'm a truth speaker. And I've spoken truth with this tone. And the person's felt so threatened that they wanted to clearly jump over the counter to come at me and put me 6 feet under. Funny thing is, they couldn't touch me. I just sat there like deer in the headlights going, what the heck? See, grounding isn't a step backwards. It's what allows awareness to stay. Now let me bring this into something deeply human. Imagine a storm, wind, noise, chaos, the whole thing. Yo, American Stoner, good to see you. For an adult, the storm feels dangerous, uncertain, out of control even. But a child looks up and asks, hey, is the house okay, Dad? Just needs to know, is it okay? And if that dad says it's okay, that kid's like, okay, man, that's fine. Doesn't matter what that outside world looks like. But the authority let it know it's okay. See, they weren't denying the storm existed. They're looking for orientation. And when you hold the bigger picture, you don't panic. You anchor. You are the anchor. You're the eye of the storm. See, children don't need you to stop the storm, guys. And that's what we're all trying to do. And no wonder we're blowing up. They need you to stay present inside it. Be those eyes. See, awakening works the same way. The world doesn't need you to fix everything. It needs you to be steady enough that others can feel safe. You know, I was talking with a friend the other day, and we're talking about situations where altercations have happened. I was at this, just even recently, it's common with me if I'm at a gathering and something is completely out of line. And there's something out of line where children were being involved. And I'll tell you something. As an observer, as creation, I knew that the person that was creating the problems and the action, that it was their own trauma acting out. And so I knew not to add more trauma to their trauma acting out. Which means even though they threw a fist at me several times, that I was capable of moving out of the way to not receive their violence intent. And instead of returning with violence, which no one around me could understand, because they would all say, well, I would have just nailed them several times. They swung first more than once. So what? So what? I'll fold them up, put them away, and make sure they get home safely instead. See, awakening's like that. When you get to that place, not even observer, when you get even to the place of creation, you recognize that what is created, you do not want to harm. But you want them to see. You want them to feel safe. So you'll let them know, but you want them to feel safe. See, that's leadership. That's embodiment. That's love in action. Yeah, it's not saying it's condoning what's going on, but it's allowing the situation to diffuse without there being an excuse to retaliate. See, in the trilogy, there's a realization trying to wake everyone up becomes its own prison itself. God, I tried that. And all it did was create chaos around me because those around me just didn't even, they were almost afraid to bring me into places because, oh my God, she's going to try and wake everybody up. I realized that's not even doing anything. So then I went into a place of solitude to escape. High wisdom. And there I discovered something. See, when I just began to see the mirrored image, that means when I see you out there, I see a part of myself that doesn't see completely yet. And I know that just in presence alone, that I don't need to convince you because you are part of me. And I know that that me is going to get the trickle down of creation itself. Because the realization that we are also creation was right there. So now it becomes a thing of beauty, encouragement, a thing of a shift. See, characters learn, people awaken when they are ready instead. And they already recognize that they're part of that consciousness, so awakening is inevitable. And when they understand it, people awaken when they're ready, when their nervous system feels safe enough, when their life asks the questions. Truth forced too early becomes noise. So instead of convincing, the character begins living. And something changes. People don't argue with embodiment. They feel it. I don't need to go into this area where I'm at and tell people about being awoken. They can feel it. They can feel it when I sing into a mic. They can feel it when I'm in a room. And they know that I'm watching. Heck, I have friends that go, man, are you a narc or something? You're always watching everything. Nope, not a narc, man. Not at all. Have no plan to take anything I'm observing anywhere but to observe. Because the one thing I've learned is observe all and don't narrow in on one. Because the reality is this: all, not all, will observe. Most will be first-person player. But the observer at least can allow the first-person players to know when the storm is arising. Because the observer is the eye of the storm. See, awakening doesn't remove you from humanity at all. It may for a short time. That's okay. We gotta get our solitude. But it actually places us deeper inside. Once we're creation, why would we be separated from what we love? With steadier feet, we get to exist in that life. Clearer eyes and a softer heart. It doesn't mean there won't be the moments that your love is fierce. But your love, it's always ready there for an open arm. Even to the fools that say the most intense things or do the most intense things to you. Because you don't take it on personal. So you're not first person player now, are you? So you don't need to be louder. You don't need to be sharper. You don't need to be the one to carry the weight of the world. I get friends that remind me of that sometimes. And thank you to those of you that do that. You just need to live in a way that makes space for truth to breathe. And be that embodiment of truth. You know, like standing calmly in a storm so others remember. Or maybe being the eyes in a picture that is being distorted by mouths. It's like standing calmly in a storm so others remember that they are safe to feel. Take one more breath with me. You ready? Because guess what? That breath is to remind you that you're not late. You're not alone either, okay? You are exactly where your integration begins. So no matter what you've faced, you're ready. No matter what you've been through, no matter even if this week you maybe feel like you did something that was just ridiculous. It's okay. It brought you to here now. It's all part of the journey. So go gaze into the mirror today and remind yourself, you're not that first person player, and you're even beyond the observer. And your creation, never separated from the divine. The divine was experiencing life through you. We were all on this journey of self-discovery. Let's not forget that. Well, everybody, let's also not forget this. Let's remember this. Can I encourage everybody here? All right? Stop doing this. You know what this is? It's talking amongst each other about each other. I think we got enough about our own selves to go gaze in a damn mirror and have a conversation for probably about 50 years. None of us is better than another. Period. Don't let that ego do that to you. Because that's not you either. You got nothing to prove. And until you can look in a mirror and realize that, chaos will keep spinning around you. All right, y'all. Much love. Make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. It brings you one step closer. Make sure you recognize that you're valuable and you matter and you're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. Go out and show somebody you care about them today. And put your pride down if you've made mistakes. Please. What you see now is strange. Life is strange, my friends. Life is strange. Truly is. Peace and love. We'll see you guys.